Hey guys, Nick Rinkus here on vacation up in Vermont. Obviously, you see the yellow walls, which is this is the house that um, my wife used to come when she was little. They've had the house for years and years, so I think the yellow color was probably from the early '80s, maybe '70s. Who knows? But anyway, um, this morning I was going before we left. I was going through people's drivers and what they propose should be their drivers. And I wanted to talk to you about why campaigns or initiatives or projects, why I think they failed in the past, and why it's now different with the great game of business and with open book management and with the motto that people support what they help create. So in the past, things would honestly they would fail miserably. If I was the one coming up with the project or the idea and giving it out to people as to say like this is what we should focus on, it was just at best an uphill battle, and at worst it just never caught, never gained traction, and rarely succeeded. So I think think about it. If somebody tells you kind of what to do and this is what they want to focus on, and they give you orders per se of, or they give you a project and this is what they want you to focus on, even if it might be the right thing for the business, you probably wouldn't take that on as your own. So with business and with the great game and with open book management, the key is that having the person come up with what they should focus on is key to getting to having a successful whatever that is, to having it be successful. So the buy-in, having them create it as if it was their own choice and thinking. And if you have kids, think about it from your kids' perspective. If they come up with something like if it was their idea, or if you make it think, if you make them think it was their idea, then it's much more likely that they'll do that thing than if you're just giving them orders and telling them to follow those orders or do what you say because you're the parent or the leader or the boss, and that's why they should do it. That never works. So with great game, especially with great game, we went around the virtual room and we had everyone give us what they think they should focus on in terms of drivers, how they can impact the critical number. And we did the same thing for the critical number exercise when we surveyed our team members and asked them what the major critical issues were for the company and what we should focus on for the next year. What should be our critical number? And just the process of having everyone give their input, even if it's not the thing that we went with in the end, was still powerful because those people were heard and they participated in the process, which is so key to getting things off of you and getting things to just work more smoothly. Once you have other people involved in coming up with the game plan, coming up with the direction, the strategy, the whatever, it's now off of you, and they have taken a little bit of ownership. So that right there just relieves the owner of the stress of coming up with everything on his own, number one. And number two, not having to be on top of your people to get things done, because it never works that way. So today I was reviewing the drivers that came in, and most of them I find were like projects that weren't actions. They were just one-time projects, and I was looking more for actions that could really impact the critical number if they became habits within the organization. But the other ones that were habitual, their downside, some of them, was that I didn't think they were great ideas, to be honest. I didn't think that they would impact the critical number as much as some other things. So I don't know if they didn't spend the time to think it through before they came up with the answer, and they just shared whatever they thought was the first thing on their mind, or if they well, whatever the reason was. Like, for let me give you an example. So this one driver came in, and the person wanted to build out a directory site where we then charged for access to this directory. Premium access would get such and such, and then we could maybe advertise on there, on this directory, and it would help generate leads for our back end services, by having people sign up for like a low barrier to entry, low cost directory, which might be fine. And I only I thought about the projects in the past that have failed, and this one we happen to have tried to work on this in the past, and it didn't work out. So this particular project, but it made me think of projects in the past that have failed. And a big complaint from our people was that we would work on these things, and then they would just disappear. So we'd spend so much time, multiple people on the team worked on these things, and then they just disappeared for whatever reason. They lost steam. They didn't pan out. They didn't produce the return on investment that we thought they would. We didn't produce the whatever that they thought they would. That we just it just for whatever reason, projects in the past just didn't work out. So I think it's just super important. And one of the things that I learned from the Great Game of Business was to you have this very clear criteria with which you assess and grade these drivers or activities or projects, and they're just objective. So the person won't feel like you're personally attacking them as if it was a bad idea, and you have this constant tool that you can go back to, which is the effort impact map. And essentially, the effort impact map is an X and a Y axis, and you put each activity, and you can do this with the team. I urge you to do it with the team, but even when you're judging something that someone wants to do, my response to this person was the effort that it's going to take and the cost that it's going to take is going to be really high to get this directory off the ground. And the time that it'll take to get it off the ground is probably going to be, months, maybe even 6 months. And I asked him, so I said, the effort is really high, and the impact on our critical number is very hard to measure. So yeah, it might be high, but I would say it's probably mediocre, only because we would have to get through all this effort and cost before we even got there to have a real impact on the critical number. So I said, based on the effort impact map, it's just not something that I thought that we should focus on. And now I also urged the person to come back to me if they thought I was wrong, if they thought that the effort was lower than I was saying, or if we can get it out faster, like with an MVP or minimal viable product, to test something smaller to see if it would be successful before we allocated all these resources, time and effort and cost into rolling out a big directory site and then going out there to sell it when we don't know if it would even sell. So based on the effort and impact map, I then suggested another activity which I thought would be, the person could help out a lot more with our critical number. I think he could impact the critical number with a lot less cost and effort, and he'd have a lot higher impact. So that's so two things that I just wanted to go over with you today was based on what we've been covering, based on what I've been doing in our agency, is having people support what they help create. Having people, that's the motto of the Great Game. Having people come up with the ideas and not necessarily giving them. So learning to ask questions and sometimes leading people in the right answer, but really just having it open ended so they can come up with the answers. And then based on those answers, then together with that person, assessing and judging those activities and initiatives based on effort and impact. So as businesses, as business owners, we can't focus on everything. So the effort and impact map is a really good tool to figure out what you should focus on. And obviously the sweet spot is those low effort activities that have the biggest impact. All right, guys, just remember, people support what they help create. I'll do my best to do these videos while I'm away. I had to sneak out. There's about 20-something people in the other room getting ready for dinner, so I snuck out to pump this video out. I want to stay in the habit of that with these yellow walls and everything. Remember, people support what they help create. If you have any comments or questions, don't hesitate to leave them below. And thanks for watching.